Hi everyone, welcome back to Vampire the Masquerade Night Road by Kyle Marquise. This episode we're starting on Chapter 3, The Eagle Prince. I was right. I totally think that that gangrel we saw at the gas station, who was an eagle at the time, I think he was most certainly a gangrel. So a brief recap on everything we've done so far. We have gone to the gas station. We're in the middle of Tucson, Arizona on November 2. It was November 1 when we started. And we drove around in our Honda. It broke down. We recounted our time with Julian. And after which, we went into a gas station. And a family of migrants came into the gas station. And we were going to feed on them. But, unfortunately, a Nosferatu Rite, I believe is what they're called, a wassailed kindred of the Nosferatu clan attacked, and we narrowly drove off the Nosferatu with a road flare. Now, I believe we are trying to make it to the city in which we can finally meet this prince and deliver some USBs. So, let's get started. Chapter 3, The Eagle Prince. Tucson, Arizona, night of November 2 or 2nd. Sunrise, 6:42 a.m. Your feet hurt. You've already passed the place you were supposed to stay yesterday, but it's just an empty garage. There's nothing there for you. An hour before dawn, you reach the chain-link fences and industrial parks that mark the outskirts of Tucson. You can see cheap stucco houses up ahead, but the burbs are no place for a vampire. Without a cell phone or money, and your clothes too trashed for polite company, you're forced to rely on a skill set you don't really have: street survival. Far from the heart of the city, you find a neglected Planet Aid drop box behind a rundown strip mall. The door has been left open, and with 5 minutes left before sunrise, you crawl inside. Amid the black plastic trash bags, wet clothes, and broken bottles, you find an old wire clothes hanger and use it to jam the door shut. Then you shove wet socks up into the seams around the opening mechanism so no sunlight creeps in. You spend the day drifting in nightmares as you boil in the metal box, unable to move. All you can do is scream in your own mind as the temperature inside crawls above 100 degrees. And the moment the sun sets, you squirm outside, reeking of old trash. A new low. All that matters is the USBs. Are they still good? This is what life is. Some nights are good, some are like this. Maybe there's a clean place to sleep at the end of this road. By Cain, I'm not going to continue to exist like this. I don't care what things I have to do to get a clean apartment and a nice car, but I will do them. I think Spade's had enough, and as a Ventru and tasting the Ventru lifestyle, by Cain, we're gonna get a nice place to live. As you kick some black filth off your ruined boots, a BMW i8 rolls past without making a sound. You're not asking for a BMW, just a car that runs. A screen that isn't cracked, boots that aren't. Christ, what is stuck to your boots? You check your USBs. Your satchel's shredded, beyond usefulness, but the delivery itself is fine. You're a few hours from where you need to be. You're gonna walk in there looking like hell, but you're not gonna walk out of there looking like that. You promise yourself. Tucson, Arizona, night of November 3. Sunrise, 6:29 a.m. You never wanted to come back to Tucson. It's been a black spot on your personal map for years. But here you are. You have to avoid the good neighborhoods, the big stucco houses on their little plots of land with their raked-out front yards and blue recycling bins. For a few minutes, a black and white Mustang with a thin blue line Punisher decal on the hood creeps behind you in first gear. You can't tell if it's an actual police car or some kind of patriot group, but you cut through a park where they can't follow. There's a public bathroom there where you might be able to clean up a little. The mirror is cracked and someone shit in the urinal, but the water works. Spend a few minutes scraping trash off, then look around for either threats or opportunities. Your hunger is a gnawing distraction in the back of your mind, but you could still think. And you find yourself thinking, where are all the junkies? It's not like this is a nice park. You lurk in the shadows for a few minutes, just trying to remember what it's like, but you don't see anyone. That's when you recognize where you are. This abandoned building was the lair of Lampago, a thing of legend that was probably one of the kindred, though no one knows for sure. A shape-shifting monstrosity, destroyed by hunters as the Second Inquisition rose to power and began their dreadful crusade against all vampires. A lesson in keeping your head down and not bucking their traditions, if there ever was one. She might have been a monster, but there aren't many creatures left like her. Just obedient little kindred without imagination. I wish I could have seen her. A cannibal corpse wallowing in a sewer. Vampires are worth more than that. They were right to destroy her. Now our Spade, who's been kicked around and scuffed on by elders, but still knows how to survive. I think Spade would select a lesson in keeping your head down and not bucking the traditions if there ever was one. Which reminds you, it's time to meet the local Camarilla at their Elysium and try not to piss them off. Elysium is one of the defining ideas of the Camarilla. It's a neutral meeting ground where violence and the use of vampire powers are forbidden. In many Elysiums, kindred are allowed to exist as they are, not as the Masquerade demands them to be. The Tucson Elysium is located on the roof of a nightclub called the Viper. You can hear the pounding industrial music from the parking lot, but you're not here for the party. You've been outside the Viper before, but never in and never up. You scan the rooftop and wonder whether to approach first or try to hunt. It's bad form to arrive in an Elysium hungry, but hunting nearby is often forbidden since it attracts notice. An eagle settles on a fire escape. You remember the way the eagle looked at you a few nights ago, and you suspect it's the way in. You follow it up the fire escape, trying to ignore the hunger that has you gnawing on your lip. You don't know what shadow art this place employs, but you reach the top step, and the empty-looking rooftop of the Viper disappears, replaced by a sprawling patio covered in cacti and desert shrubs, footpaths that lead through the secret garden, and a small stone bridge across narrow rivulets of cold flowing water. From here, the lights of Tucson are invisible, and the night sky is the way it is in the deep desert, shades of purple and blue and black, with the Milky Way brighter than you've ever seen it. It's quiet up here, but the music from the nightclub below vibrates through the trash soles of your boots as you cross the flagstones. Your fellow kindred watch you with disgust as your boots leave a crumbly trail of black dirt, but you size them up quickly and dismiss them just as quickly. They're weak Camarilla fledglings and neonates, ghouls, dead-eyed mortals, servitors, and blood dolls. You look around for someone important. The eagle flies past you and lands beside a young-looking man in a linen suit with turquoise jewelry. He's covered in worried tones with a Nosferatu, a particularly hideous example of the clan whose face is a death head of gray-black muscles, as if her skin has been peeled away. Her monstrous face contrasts with her striking and powerful physique. That man with the jewelry is either the prince or one of his agents. I deliver the USBs and get my damn money. I still have my dignity. I'm not going to cross the Elysium until I find a way to clean myself up. I examine my fellow kindred. I've never been to Tucson Elysium, and I want to know what sort of monsters, liars, and sons of bitches I'm up against. Blood. I need blood. Well, if the person wearing the jewelry is the prince, I'd like to get introduced first before I go tromping around his territory. Oh, hello. The man in the turquoise jewelry watches your approach with a slight smile. He's seated comfortably in a wicker chair next to a small zinc table and with an old laptop. A white hat and heap of typed and handwritten correspondence. The Nosferatu standing beside him only scowls. "Welcome to Tucson," he says. His accent is foreign, from somewhere in Europe, despite the Native American jewelry and the wide-brimmed hat in front of him. "I am Prince Litau. This is Dove. And you are Spade," he says. "The courier. It looks like you had a difficult journey." A clump of mud falls out of your hair and splats onto the flagstones. "Give us the data, Blue Blood," the Nosferatu snaps. Dove is wearing a silkscreen jacket, kicked around Converse All-Stars, and a snapback with a local minor league baseball team on it. Driving gloves are tucked into her pocket. Another courier? Money first, sewer rat. I'm not here to pick a fight. I toss her the first USB. Dove sounds like the sort of Camry lapdog who needs to get yanked around. So, Dove, do you have a dove? Like this guy has an eagle? Does everyone get a bird? That's just too sassy to dismiss. We have to pick that. Oh, gross. I love her. Oh, she's fantastic. The Nosferatu glares down at you, but the prince seated beside her only laughs, his tone warm and friendly. Dove has little interest in the creatures of the night. Her dark gifts maintain this Elysium, he says. But she is most useful for what she knows, and right now she wants to know what those USBs hold. I imagine you do too. You've yanked her around enough, so you set the USBs on Prince Leteau's table. Thank you, Spade, he says. Leteau's laptop is an old Asus, probably intended to read information once before it's destroyed. When the prince inserts the USBs, a folder appears with the video and a few text files. Feel free to watch, Spade, Leteau says. He checks his Vacheron Constantin. It's 1:49 a.m. Then he looks east. He stares for a long time, as if with longing, then shakes his head. I don't think this interests you directly, but I'm not trying to keep secrets here in Tucson. A warm, friendly smile, and eyes that watch you like a... Where did that bird go? The video opens awkwardly, with a hand holding a webcam. You see a man's face, and then you see the ritual chamber. Tremere, the warlocks, the usurpers. Once the clan of sorcerers and blood magicians, their discipline and interclan loyalty admired even by their enemies. The Tremere are now scattered, and the leaders after the destruction of their greatest chantry in Vienna. You might have fallen low over the past few years, but not so low as the warlocks. You don't recognize this Tremere. He is white and apple-cheeked with a short gray beard, portly in a way vampires rarely are, like an avuncular college professor. He's wearing a Fair Isle sweater, vest, and pressed slacks, and holding a silver knife with one hand as he tries to adjust the webcam with the other. That's Jasper Knowles, Tremere Magus, Leteau says conversationally. Do you know him? I've never seen him before in my life, which is true, so there's no reason to make things difficult. Tremere are scum who should all be dragged out of their havens and burned for their crimes. Which is also true. Oh, Lord. Tremere are all scum. This is a lot of Tremere scum. Tremere are all scum. I don't associate with them. Not true. But it's the most common attitude in the Camarilla right now. I might as well try to fit in. My job is making deliveries, Prince Leteau. I don't get involved. Well, if Spade's gonna try and climb their way up, I'm gonna stick with the truth. I've never seen him before in my life, which is true, so there's no reason to make things difficult. Leteau watches you closely as you answer, tongue against his teeth, concentrating. He thinks you know something, but you've never seen this Tremere. Dove gasps. Knowles has stepped away from the webcam, revealing a dingy cinder-block room with faded orange stripes on the walls and a Nosferatu chained to an iron spike in the floor. That Nosferatu almost killed you the other night. Sire, Dove whispers. Prince Leteau's illusion of good cheer falters for a moment. Both he and the eagle glare at Dove. You're here so he can get a read on you, not so his underling can give you information. This experiment has gone on for as long as it can, Knowles says in the video. Science sometimes ends in failure, my dear, and so does our version of it. No intelligence remains in this specimen, and it has become increasingly dangerous and aggressive. Once it is destroyed, I will send what's left to you. I am also going to wrap up my daytime business. I know that we are still allowed to communicate via emails as, flesh and blood citizens, but my mortal identity is almost 80 years old now, and soon people will wonder. Something off-screen draws Knowles' attention. He turns the knife ready to insert it into his wrist, perhaps to use blood magic. Unfortunately for Knowles, he's looking the wrong way. As he stares past the webcam, a figure detaches itself from the shadows of the wall, walks almost casually up to the chained Nosferatu, and removes its shackles. The rest of the video is chaos. The right hurls itself at Knowles. The Tremere screams and stumbles into the webcam, which falls. Sorcerer's fire blackens the ceiling. Dirty fists rise and fall again and again. Unlike most Tremere, Knowles has mastered the vampiric art of inhuman resilience, but that only makes his destruction longer and more horrible. Then suddenly, the video ends. It sounds like this Jasper Knowles got what was coming to him. The poor men, both of them. The traditions exist to stop horrors like this from happening. What's up with the figure that freed the Nosferatu? Why couldn't I see it clearly? Well, current hypothesis is that it's probably a La Sombra, considering it came out of a shadow, so that wouldn't help me as a player, honestly. And you know what? For experimenting on rights, you do get what's coming to you, Tremere. Maybe don't poke things that have lots of teeth and fists. You've never seen Knowles before, Leto says. He sounds frustrated. Dove, go back. Who was that shadow? You watch it again, but the shadow's just a blur of formless motion. An impressive disguise, Leto says thoughtfully. Freeze framing on the blur, the assassin doesn't even move fast at first. There's just nothing but a smear. Almost as impressive as this rooftop. And what happened to the Nosferatu? Did he escape? He rolls the video back and forth, trying to get a better view of the right. Then he seems to remember you. He reaches into a bag at his feet and hands you a manila envelope, then goes back to scrolling around. $1,000 in 20s. Your job is done. And you know the answer to Leto's question, of course. The Eagle Prince's gaze wanders again. He looks east over the skyline of Tucson. Share what I know about my encounter with the right. This will get me in good with the Camarilla, which might go further than $1,000 ever could. I share what I know. The right's still out there and dangerous and needs to be stopped before people get hurt. Spade doesn't care about people. I keep my mouth shut. I owe the Camarilla nothing. I say nothing. I plan to deal with the right myself. That's dangerous. We're going to go with this one because I want more money. You describe the battle and your narrow escape from the mindless Nosferatu. I'm impressed you're still alive, little neonate, Leto says. The Nosferatu you fought was an old and powerful in his time, the child of Reremus himself. Then his tone hardens and slices through the air like a razor. Dove, your sire is now your responsibility. Find him and destroy him. You have 7 nights. Watching the video seemed to have taken all the fight out of the Nosferatu. She just nods. You have too many questions. The most is obvious. Why did Prince Leto let you watch the video? Princes are secretive and paranoid creatures. Even in these nights, when the true elders have sunken into torpor or fled to the old world, even a young prince like Leto has survived centuries of betrayal and revolution. Princes don't tolerate risk. That means either Leto or his situation here are unstable, or worse, he already knows you and has accounted for you. Spade, I have more work for you, the Prince of Tucson says. You will remain here tonight. My man Alexander will provide you with shelter and suitable clothing, and hose you down, obviously. I apologize if he treats you like a horse, but he misses horses. Alexander is a small and sallow man with lank black hair. He wears an oversized gray suit, like a refugee from some 20th century war. He does not smile, which is for the best, since you see that his teeth are gray. Follow me, Alexander says. His accent is thick, and his breath is acidic, like bile. An old ghoul. Kindred grows strange and cold as they age, but the old blood slaves are stranger still, and sometimes more dangerous. Your only problem now is your hunger, a dull distraction ache in the back of your skull. Alexander seems to know your clan Ventru, and has not offered you cold blood despite your obvious hunger. All of Krona never said being from the clan of kings was easy. Next thing on our list is eat, guys. After a shower, the servant leads you back to a glass observation room above the club's main dance floor, where a selection of clothing is waiting, and you realize that Prince Leto is giving you gifts. This isn't good. You know what happens if you end up in debt to a prince. Please, Alexander says, you must dress for the Elysium. The Eagle Prince insists. You glance at clothes on display. Leto isn't exactly draping you in Armani, at least. You see a mix of work clothes and streetwear, but nothing too upmarket. You don't see any bloodstains either. Just get me a jumpsuit or something out of a Goodwill donation bag. I don't need Prince Lato's charity. Something tough, functional for the road. Black leather jacket and engineer boots. What if I need to go clubbing? I need streetwear so I don't look like an old person with a young person's face. I need to look professional for my job. Office casual isn't fashionable, but it's invisible. I want the official courier's outfit. Members only jacket, driving gloves. Can't go wrong with the classics. I find something black, formal, and elegant. I'm torn between something tough and functional for the road and the members only jacket and driving gloves. I like the movie Drive, so we're picking this. It's important to look the part. No one wants their semi-criminal vampire courier pulling up in a Pickle Rick t-shirt and cargo pants. You quickly find cap-toe boots and driving gloves in your size, and expand from there. Jeans, aloha shirt, and after a quick bit of hunting, a white silkscreen jacket with an eagle on the back. Cool, even if it looks a bit like Lato's eagle. You find an old suitcase for transporting your cargo, and a knockoff Tiscott Heritage 1948 that fits right below your glove. Is it too much? Not yet. You check your pockets of the jacket, find a gold Zippo in the shape of a snake, and a pair of knockoff Maui Jim driving sunglasses. Now it's too much. And it's perfect. You ascend metal stairs that thump with the bass of the EDM below, back up to the rooftop of Elysium. Lato's eagle watches you. A gangrel prince is unusual, even in these nights. You wonder where Lato came from, and you wonder what he wants with you. He's still watching the video, reviewing whatever information they got from the other USBs. Dove is scanning the parking lot below. You will remain with us for some time, Alexander says. You understand what this means, yes? Of course you understand what will happen if you try to flee. You look toward that parking lot, too. You need a car. We are very friendly people in Tucson, Alexander says, finally smiling. It's an awful sight. Little gray rat teeth, skin that crinkles like paper. Not like the other cities you may know. Speak to people about what you need. Dove was like you once. She drove. You need a car? She has cars. Her retainer, Carlos, is the one listening to music from below. He is a police officer. He has, rooms, stashes of the shit. Is that what it's called? He keeps evidence rooms with the good shit. Maybe you need that sort of man. He's proud and cruel, though. Do not let him bait you. Carlos spots you and Alexander looking at him and gives you the finger. I like him. I like Carlos. And if you need, blood, Alexander says. I was a doctor in my youth. When I was young, I said to my teachers, this bleeding, it does not work. It does not make the patient better. Isn't that funny, knowing what I know? Ah, a little joke. But I have an important job. When kindred feed and kill and endanger the Masquerade, I tell Prince Lato. I hate telling him those things. I would prefer if kindred came to me for advice. I will give you this advice now. Do not hunt near the viper. It is not permitted. And of course, do not use your gifts here. The sudden movement of blood, it upsets Dove. Got a lot of options. All right. I talked to Lato. Why is an outlander in charge? That's rare for the Camarilla, but unexpected things interest me. Maybe I can learn about the prince and cultivate a relationship with him. So Lato is cute. He is, I agree. And I'm going to talk to him and see if there's anyone else in his life. We're not a Toreador, we're not doing that. I talked to Lato. I don't trust him. I never trust the Camarilla. But if he has work, I need money. What are we, a freaking anarch? Actually, Alexander, what can you tell me about procuring blood in Tucson? The old ghoul's unsavory and might be deranged, but blood is life and I need it. Ooh, we might do that. I need blood, Alexander, but I have certain ethical standards. How are matters arranged here? I know what I am, but I would rather not be associated with forced extraction pits. I talked to the retainer Carlos about equipment and a place to stay. I've been far too proud lately. If I have to beg this guy for what I need, I'll do it. I talked to Carlos. I need guns, and if I need to kiss the ring or otherwise to impress this mortal, I'll do what I need to survive. Dove hasn't exactly been polite, but we have a shared interest in cars. I chat her up about different accidents we've been in. I talked to Dove about getting a car, but I'm not going to put up with any shit from Sewer Rat. I examined Leto's eagle. How fascinating and how dangerous. I approve. I mean, it was definitely the eagle at the gas station. I talked to the moral servitors and hangers-on. That's where Julian taught me to look for power, where people are forced to serve. I think I might talk to the prince first, and then, if I have time, I will talk to Carlos about getting materials. When you approach, Prince Leto closes his laptop and rises cordially. It's a truism among the kindred that all elders are monsters, but at least this one can hide it. He's unexpectedly tall, and despite his useful features, you can picture him on a warehouse plowing through the ranks of helpless peasant infantry. It's dangerous to interact with any elder, but you sense an opportunity here. You make small talk for a few minutes, describing a few recent deliveries once it's clear that Prince Leto knows who you are and your sire are. It's strange to exist in a time of ignorance, Spade, Leto says. When I was new dead, the Commonwealth was still a land of darkness and superstition. Oh, I'm sorry, we have only just met, haven't we? And I am talking to you like I am picking up a thread of an old story. Let me start at the beginning. I died around the same time as my country did, around when the United States was fighting King George III. Most Americans know nothing of those events, of course. I was held in little esteem when I came to Arizona, especially by the Ventrue who ruled here at the time, he continues. But when the old prince went mad attacking the other clans and got himself destroyed, there were a few elders left who had not already fled, and so I became the prince in this new dark age, brought about by the Second Inquisition and our fear, justified, it turns out, of being tracked through these devices. He taps the laptop case. And in between, you ask, Prince Leto, skipped over about 200 years there? A story for another time, Spade, the prince says with a secret smile. There's some kind of dispute in the parking lot below. 3 women yelling at a guy. Dove gestures and 2 heavies downstairs sort it out. Alright, so now that we've talked with the prince, let's see what our options are. I return to Alexander about getting blood in Tucson. That might be really useful, actually. We're not that ethical. I don't care where my blood comes from, so I'm not going to ask to get ethical blood. Equipment, place to stay. That'll be next, but we really do need blood, and as a Ventrue, it is difficult to get. So we'll do that next. I return to Alexander and ask him what he can tell me about procuring blood in Tucson. The old ghoul is unsavory and might be deranged, but blood is life, and I need it. You are from the clan of kings. May I venture to ask, Alexander says. May I venture to ask further how refined your palate might be? Younger women, you say. Ah, clear and simple, very American, he says. I can provide you with the addresses of clubs. Not this one. The Viper is Prince Leto's. But there are places you can go where no one will notice you. I provide this service, not for your sake, but so you do not embarrass our prince. But this is only for tonight, understand? There have been accidents in Tucson, and the prince will not trust you to wander freely night after night. He rattles off a long list of nightclubs, bars, halfway homes, kill shelters, blood banks, and hospitals. His knowledge is encyclopedic, precise, and up-to-date, and his warnings are invaluable. 2 more kindred arrive from the dance floor. Skins slick from other people's sweat, cradling their dazed-looking blood dolls. Prince Leto narrows his eyes at the vulgar display, but says nothing. I'll make a note of that for later. So we have more options. We have our blood. I would like to talk to Dove, but I need to talk to Carlos. We need to do what we need to survive. Carlos is standing on a grate through which he can hear the pounding industrial music below, puffing on an inexpertly rolled joint. You're what, the new courier? Carlos says. The new meat? I have money, and I need guns, you say. Carlos laughs and takes a long drag of his lumpy joint. You say, yeah, I got guns. You don't want a sword, vampire? You don't want, like, a fucking katana? Do you have, like, a handcart or something, you ask, that I can look at? He laughs so hard, he almost falls off the roof. But he finally manages to steady himself. Yeah, well, let you have a good look. Me and my buddy Miguel and Lana will set you up, but later. Now let me listen. He closes his eyes as the EDM buzzes out of the floor grate. Whatever was happening in the parking lot below has sorted itself out. The heavies are back upstairs laughing. You memorize their names and faces in case they're trouble later. Then circle Elysium for a few minutes, getting a feel for the place. You can't believe you're back in Tucson. You wonder if anyone recognizes you. Beyond the rooftop, the city lights appear dim and washed out, as if seen through a black veil. The red brake lights from the highway look like a dull, sluggish trail of blood. Just call her! That's Dove speaking in hushed but anxious tones to Prince Leteau. You can't quite hear the rest of the conversation, but then the prince's genial smile vanishes. Dove withers at whatever he says next. Then the eagle swings its golden eyes back towards you. Ah, Spade, Prince Leteau says. I told you I would have work for you. I need to send some emails, and that is not as easy as it once was. Come here. You were still a fledgling when the Second Inquisition burned through the centers of Camarilla power, places like the Vienna Chantry, arcane fortress of Clan Tremere. You weren't important enough to draw the SI's attention. They've been quiet for years. Quiet enough that some kindred are starting to use their phones and emails to conduct their night work again, cutting into your business. But you know they're fools. The SI was never beaten. The Inquisition is just collecting information for now, waiting for an opportunity to strike again. Prince Leteau does not want to give them an opportunity. You come highly recommended, he says. And I hate to see a proud member of Clan Ventru brought low by circumstances. I need you to run letters to a few citizens near Tucson. Don't worry. Nothing is more than a single night's trip. How much? Why not use your magic bird? I'm not being sarcastic. I sort of want a magic bird. I want to pick that so bad. I need a ride. Pointing that out might tie me to the Camarilla, but after years of my own, maybe that's not a bad thing. Well, since you're so charming, flirting openly with an elder might be stupidly dangerous, but Leteau is so charming. I think I can get on my own, thanks. These elders were always giving me orders, pretending it's charity. I'm gonna get a car out of these people. I need a ride. As much as I desperately want to flirt with the Prince of Tucson, I also need a car. And you will have the finest of rides, the Eagle Prince says, or at least the most practical one. One of Dove's people will contact you with information on how to acquire a vehicle. If I have to work for the Camarilla to stay alive, Leteau might be my best chance. What's the job? I don't trust you, Prince Leteau. Don't try to betray me. I already don't trust him, but you don't say that to his face. More of this shit. I'll do your jobs, but there are limits to what I'll stomach. I'm a driver, not a leg breaker. I'm not your weapon. Camarilla is the best chance for all vampires. Shame the ones in charge are assholes, but maybe I can work to fix that. I'm in. What's the job? I don't think Spade's like a Camarilla doormat, but I do think that with survival, they're gonna pick tying themselves to the Camarilla. Prince Leteau hands you a printout marked in 3 locations and 3 faces. You recognize one of the faces instantly. It's your sire, Ellen Olive Krona. She's standing beside an American flag in a smart navy jacket, like she's a senator or something. You don't recognize the other 2 faces. 3 people need to know about the final death of Jasper Knowles and the reduction of Ramus's child to the state of right. He points to each face in turn. Invidia Cowell worked closely with Jasper after she escaped New York and showed up here. When Clan Tremere fell apart, so did their working relationship, but she needs to know about his destruction. She also needs to know that, without Jasper Knowles considerably private wealth funding her, she can no longer sustain her research and must return to Tucson. Should we tell them that she'll go crazy when she finds out? Dove asked the prince. I've been meaning to get around to that, Dove. Yes, Prince Leteau says. Spade, deliver my letter and get out. You won't like Dr. Cowell's reaction when she realizes she's broke. Why can't you keep her funded? It sounds like she's doing interesting work. Work I'd like to cheat out, actually. Sending me to be destroyed is poor form, Prince. Is she making a hash of the Masquerade? Is that a problem? I'll deliver your message, but it's my job. I'm not getting tangled up in local politics. I want this one. Work I'd like to cheat out eventually. No money, Dove says with a shrug of her brawny shoulders. That's how the world works, even for blood witches. Toe points to the next face. Paternos is one of the rabble, a bruja. He lurks in St. Basil's Hospital in Phoenix, looking after the lost lambs of our flock. Other rabble. The clanless, thin bloods, the mad ones, maybe even Gangrel. Leto chuckles at his own wit. But he actually keeps them in line, though they are dangerously lax. In fact, I would like you to, encourage a bit more tidiness from the kindred at St. Basil's. No open feeding, no drug running, no unauthorized embraces, that sort of thing. This is not a formal mission, you understand, but if you can make our dissatisfaction known, I would appreciate it. But more important, with Knowles gone, the hospital will be up for renovation. Those renovations will compromise St. Basil's usefulness as a haven. I'll write instructions for what Patermuster needs to do. Why do you let the low clan trash associate with the Camarilla? If you have a message to deliver to Patermus, give it to me. I'm not going to yell at someone for you. Is there any way to maintain control of the hospital while shaping the renovations to our own profit? I like that. I'm happy to deliver a message, no problem. I wonder how bad it is at St. Basil's that the Prince of Tucson needs to step in. Of course I can do that. I'll sound friendly to impress the Prince, but I'm not running errands for the Camarilla without getting paid. I want to weaponize the renovations for myself. They're ambitious, Dove says with a little laugh. Stick to running messages, kid. The Toe glances at his second-in-command, then continues. Finally, your sire. Ellen Olive Crona is at a migrant camp in Sierra Blanca, Texas. Prince Leto says, I'm aware of her involvement, and yours, in the excitement of a few years ago. Toe is referencing to how your sire incited the old Prince of Tucson into launching a crusade of purification against his clan's old rivals, including the rabble. She has since returned to the Camarilla's good graces, since she provides much of the Southwest with blood, but her operation exists atop a mortal substructure that is profoundly politically unstable. Jasper Knoll's destruction will further destabilize that situation, and she needs to know. So that's where Olive Crona ended up after you parted ways. Feeding on migrants? Sounds horrific. We're monsters, we don't care. A steady source of blood down at the camp sounds like easy living. I could get used to that. Oh no, my sire? Is she going to drag me into Camarilla politics? I don't want that. A program like Camp Schaefer is good for the long-term stability and survival of vampires. I'm interested in seeing it. I do like that. I want to take a peek. Prince Leto continues as you wonder what kind of program your sire has put together and how it differs from previous similar schemes. Anyway, 3 deliveries, 1,000 each, and you're welcome to hunt Tucson in every city you visit for a year after finishing your final delivery. Though you will have to abide by my rules for the neonates here in Tucson. My man Alexander will explain once we're finished here. I also give you permission to own property and to create no more than 1 ghoul, though you may not want to embrace new kindred. And take this for emergencies, and only for emergencies. He hands you a prepaid flip phone and a baggie full of SIM cards. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must compose the letters you are to deliver. The prince moves to a writing desk under a Ramanda, leaving the pile of electronic devices and written correspondence, and gets to work composing his message. You sit down nearby to disable the phone's GPS and get rid of anything that could be used to track you, leaving the device even more stripped down than it began. I need more money in hand right now. I persuade Leto to cough up more cash. Nature of Elysium is deception. I lie, flatter, and misrepresent myself while acting grandiose in order to make allies here. The whole situation with Jasper Knowles, the right worries me. What I want is information. I investigate the correspondence on the table, hoping that a quick glance gives me something useful. You'll get caught doing shit like that. I'm not a socialite, we are a socialite. And I'm not taking any risks tonight. I hang around and keep my mouth shut. No, we're gonna go make friends. I do want more money, though. Ooh. I'm gonna ask for more money. You and I both know there's a lot more than a handshake waiting for me at the end of these roads, Prince the Toe. What guarantees do I have that you can promise safe conduct? Toe sets down a fountain pen and then says, "These are uncertain times, Spade. You will have to take your safety into your own hands." "I suppose that's why I'm so well paid," you say. Prince shakes his head at your audacity, then says, "You want more money." "I need more security," you correct him. Fine, fine, the prince says. "Alexander, pay this mercenary until they stop badgering me." After a brief negotiation away from the annoyed and busy prince, you and the retainer, Alexander, agree on an extra 100. I didn't want to annoy the prince. Now I feel bad. Still, I do need the money. Okay. The kindred here keep disappearing downstairs, but you're sure you're not allowed to feed in Elysium. Your palms itch. You can't stay here. You need to see what the city has to offer. As if sensing your mood, Alexander returns, his approach heralded by his reeking breath. "I have spoken with the prince, and he has given you permission to feed in his city tonight," he says. "After that, you must speak with me about arrangements. Tucson can be a difficult city, and you do not have a ride. For clubs, stay away from the country and western places. We all love what is it called? A jamboree, right, here in America. But they are claimed by others, and do not feed from the sleeping. The venture of Prince Leto's court must always feed that way, and do not want competition. Otherwise, your needs can be met just north of here. There are clubs and alleys, drunks and prostitutes. You will be watched, of course. Do not dishonor the prince." You lean over the edge of the railing, looking down on Tucson. For years, you've taken blood wherever you could, and usually payment for a job, but most vampires your age hunt, and most of them specialize. Before you became a courier, you too had a specialty. You think back to those years with Olive Krona, before you drove the night roads to permeate your existence. You try to remember the skills that you developed to feed. Beggars, vagrants. During sex, it is a classic. I'm not going to add sex into this. I think the sleeping, no, that's the ventures, but I am a venture. No, we'll do from the scene. We'll do from people in the scene. It's time to check out Tucson's counterculture. That might be a masquerade risk, but I'm a traditionalist, and I've learned how to blend in. Before you or embrace the kindred hidden, maintained a complex and overlapping counterculture of musicians, artists, politicians, philosophers, and cultural hangers-on. This was a deliberate artifice, a counterculture of convenience used by the undead to hide their activities. Various occult, spiritual, romantic, and bohemian movements fulfilled similar functions in previous decades. But the world is more diffused now, without much of a mainstream culture for a counterculture to react to. By the time you joined the ranks of the undead, that old counterculture's vitality had bled into indie rock, steampunk fashion, and dozens of other places. But goth isn't dead. Not where the kindred walk. You return to where you got your silkscreen jacket and grab everything cheap and black that Alexander won't miss. You can mix and match on your way there. Even half disabled to prevent tracking, your cheap flip phone turns up a dozen hits for goth clubs around Tucson. You walk to the nearest one. Peter Murphy's Strange Kind of Love hits you like a wall of hammers as you enter. The music hasn't changed, but you think the bass technology has gotten better. It feels like your eyeballs are jiggling. It's about, one kid is trying to shout to another over the music right next to your ear. It's about Gorilla Grodd's romance with Monsieur Mala. I said it's about Gorilla. This will not do. You cross the dance floor and find a quiet corner against the poster-encrusted wall where you can sit. Order a drink you won't touch and contemplate your next move. She's either a girl or just very pretty. You're not here to analyze the nature of your feeding restriction. She smiles at you and walks your way, her white hair streaming behind her. Her black t-shirt reads, "Superhuman strength and reflexes. Genius-level intellect, use of guns." "Do you dance?" she asks. "No," you say. She smiles and sits down. And you know you've found tonight's meal. Away from the thumering bass, you're able to talk, or rather listen. Your appearance has already captivated her. Maybe she used to be a blood doll. There's a hardness around her eyes, despite her youth, that speaks of loss and betrayal. But people don't need a vampire to make them look like that. Maybe she just wants to do something stupid, or to get hurt. You can offer both. You make your offer. She smiles and waves you back into a hallway with padded black walls. There's no one here except the two of you in a black light. So, she says, laughing a little nervously, how do we do this? You sink your fangs into her neck. She writhes for a moment, terrified, and you can feel that she's never been kissed before. But you don't stop. You can't linger here in this hallway. You take what you need as her hand first beats on your back, then runs through your hair. When you're done, you lick her throat, the puncture wounds vanish. She just stands there in a daze, and she won't remember a thing. It won't always be that easy, you think, as you sit on a park bench sluggishly moving your stolen blood around your body. New vampires can always have fun for the first few nights, but then other kindred learn about your tricks, or hunters notice statistical anomalies, or the herd instinctively reacts to the invisible predator in their midst. But tonight you feel good. A Lotus Esprit Turbo in powder blue rolls up to the curb, blaring synthwave loud enough to scare the crows. The driver flings a parcel your way. When you pick it up, he peels out. The parcel contains a card for the pawn shop. Written on the back, cars. There's also an extended stay ticket for a parking garage with a 4-digit key code written on the back. So it looks like you'll have a place to park. Even after midnight, it feels dangerous to run across the wide palm tree-lined boulevard that leads to your destination. You need a car. You're itching like earlier when you needed blood. Only now, the need is to move fast. You stop fighting the shape of this city and start flowing through it the way it wants you to. By the end of tonight, you either need to buy a car or learn how to turn into a bat because Tucson's no place for pedestrians. Convenient pawn shop is wedged between an auto repair shop and a nail salon across from the Title Max. The sign reads, "Cash for guns, we buy gold," and closed. You step into the sad, dusty, spiritual void of the pawn shop. You pass PS4 games, bedazzled purses, and glass cases full of rings. Regalo perfecto. And enough rifles to conquer Belgium. The first thing you do is stock up on a few necessities of your trade. A few duffel bags and rust sacks, a mini crowbar, a small folding knife, folding shovel, a hacksaw, some lockpicks, matches, cord, electrician's tape, a flashlight, a blood and tissues kit with extra syringes, spare USBs, and a portable tool kit. Stop at the knives because you recognize the silver knife on one display case. Jasper Knowles was holding it before he was killed. Or maybe it was just a knockoff of some movie prop or something. You can't be sure, but that's weird. Oh, she's cool. I like her tattoos and her sunglasses. That's cool. Behind the display case with the knives is a pretty young woman with chopped blonde hair and Victorian replica railway glasses. She's peered over those sunglasses to watch you like a hawk since you pushed past the closed sign and walked right in. You know that reaction. She recognizes a predator, but doesn't know exactly what kind. So this place is only tangentially connected to the Tucson Camarilla. It and she are independent and kept that way because they're useful. When you get closer, the young woman leans close, studying your courier's outfit. Her bare arms are covered in H.R. Geyer tattoos? Sinuous biomechanical figures in shades of black, gray, and green. Finally, she says, "Miguel sent you." It's not quite a question. It's not quite a statement. Miguel and Carlos know each other, but you don't know the details. Or maybe that's what the retainer Carlos calls himself when he needs to talk to regular humans. Whatever. You nod. Call me Elena. Let's get you set up. She throws a red leather jacket on over her tattoos. She makes sure you could see the Glock in the shoulder holster. The cars are waiting out back. A rusted chain-link fence divides Covent Pawn Shop's parking lot from a row of rusted Quonset huts. The huts and the slightly taller buildings on either side serve to hide a full parking lot of parked cars that probably shouldn't be here. Miguel says you need wheels, Elena says. She steps into the shadows and starts messing around on her phone, but she keeps her eyes on you above the railway glasses. These cars are shit. Miguel either hates your guts or doesn't care if your mission for the Prince Leteau succeeds or fails. You instantly dismiss the vans, economy cars, anything covered in rust, or that require more cash to repair than buy. That leaves you with 4 mediocre specimens. A Mitsubishi 3000 GT with too many aftermarket mods, a little Honda S2000 with electrical problems, and an ancient but still rowing BMW 3 Series, and an ugly but functional Nissan Frontier. Stuff inside is 20% off, tonight only. Miguel must like you. Or hate me. She props the door back open. Wealth, I have $1,003. Okay. Let's check out the cars first, since we're here. Check out the Mitsubishi. This was a blistering fast car for its price back in its day. But that day is past. Still, Mitsubishi is a big, muscular GTO with excellent acceleration and handling, at least adequate. It's bouldered inside and out. The problems start when you check under the hood. You can't tell if that circular thing is supposed to be a turbo or some kind of prototype Roomba from the Clinton administration, but it's all fucked up, whatever it is. The electrical is an over-engineering nightmare, too. When you take the car out for a spin, Elena riding shotgun, Limp Bizitsky's brake stuff almost blows your eardrums out. Can't figure out how to stop the CD from playing, so Elena just pops the whole CD player out with a screwdriver. The acceleration is good, but the whole turbo is wheezy, unpredictable, and the whole car feels like it could fly apart in a hard turn. 500, Elena says when you get back, shoving the CD player back into place. I'll throw the corn CDs into the sun visor for free. One of them is live at Woodstock 99. So you can afford it. What is my stats? What is my driving stat, if I can find it? I've got 2 points in drive out of 3. What about my intelligence? Now, anything to help me with good technology points? I could probably fix stuff. I have relationships too? Oh, I want to press that. Relationships, Camarilla. Poor. That's sad. Return to game. I want to look at the other cars. I want to examine the Honda S2000. First, it's a convertible. There's nothing like feeling the wind in your hair and the drying blood in your teeth. Second, the little Honda is quick for an old car. Not just as fast in a straight line like the Mitsubishi, but more maneuverable. Third, it's a bit like your old CRX, just smaller and sportier. Fourth, it's black inside and out. Cons. Its electrical system is trash beyond all recognition. Even Elena has to disclose the number of accidents it's been in. You're worried that ghoul with a golf club and some vitae could smash the car to pieces. You're worried whether it might just burst into flames driving down the interstate. Take it around the parking lot, then about 4 blocks a few times with Elena riding shotgun. You make a few stupidly fast turns, and the little convertible does great. You spend a few minutes parked, messing with the switcher. There are a lot of flickers and sputters, but no shower of sparks. That's good, right? 600, Elena says. I do not offer a warranty. Alright, what's the other car? Kick the tires on the BMW 3 Series. With this car, you could party like it's 1985, because you're pretty sure it was built in 1985. The exterior is a gunmetal gray, and inside the leather is dry and cracked like it's suffering from some kind of foot disease. It smells like tobacco, the AC doesn't work, and the back seats are torn and patched with duct tape. But the bones of the car are excellent. The engine is clean. It's as fast as the two sports cars, almost as maneuverable as the modern vehicle, and more importantly, it's tough as nails. The thing survived Reaganomics and Glasnost. It could survive whatever you crash it into. Take it around the parking lot for a few blocks, a few times with Elena riding shotgun. It's old and a bit rattly, but it escalates hard, turns well, it feels solid. Like driving a refrigerator with a really good engine. All this can be yours for a meager 700, Elena says. It's such a good deal, you check the whole car again. But it looks good. It's the most expensive thing in the lot, your price range. Maybe it's worth it. It has the most points out of all of them. The Mitsubishi is garbage. I say we'll go with the Honda, so that way we can have at least 2 points in speed maneuverability. Durability is 1, but we're getting the middle of the road here without breaking the bank. I'm gonna get the Honda. Ooh, wait, there's one more car. The Nissan Frontier. I almost missed that one. Oh god, I just saw the price. The pickup is the newest vehicle on the lot in your price range, though it isn't really saying much. It's ugly on the outside, rust-stained, salt-streaked. Did someone drive this thing down from Manitoba? It's not particularly fast, and even though it's fairly new, you know it's going to turn like a 53 Mercury. But all that post-2000 passenger safety knows how to count for something pound for pound. The Frontier is as tough as a little BMW, and the Frontier is a lot more pounds. You find yourself rolling into a gunfight across broken rocks or back in time to fight Vlad the Impaler's heavy infantry. This is the vehicle for you. And it's black. You take the Nissan around the parking lot, then around the block a few times with Elena riding shotgun. There's plenty of room here if you ever need to transport something bigger than a manila envelope, like a cursed sarcophagus. I'm sorry, I laughed at the cursed sarcophagus part. I'm a big Bloodlines 1 fan. Like a cursed sarcophagus. This Nissan is perfect. Still, the driving experience is viscerally unpleasant. It's floaty and slow, the visibility isn't as great as you were expecting, and you think something's wrong with the electrical because it doesn't feel like the power steering works right. You're gonna hate driving this thing, but it drives. $350, Elena says. We're not getting that car. That's a garbage car, and we need good cars. We're gonna get... not the Frontier. Oh, but it's got such good... not the Frontier. We're gonna get the Honda 2000. Click. It's hardly top of the line, but at least it'll be fun to drive until it suddenly explodes. I'll take it, you say. I didn't even get to my hard sell, Elena says. There's not a lot of bureaucracy here. You give Elena 600, she gives you the keys and registration, and a Garfield at the beach umbrella in case the roof sticks open and it rains. I only have $403 left. What are my stats on fighting? Combat 0. Firearms 1. I can shoot a gun. That's pretty great. I think I'm gonna get a gun. Because I obviously can't use a sword. Ooh. A really nice phone would be nice, but I don't want the SI coming for me. A suit would be nice too. I do like the knife. I want to learn about the knife. So, is that a, what are they called? A Klingon knife? I cannot pronounce this. A Taljik? No, Elena says. Her pronunciation is flawless. Mine's not. And you can't afford it. It's solid silver for killing werewolves, I guess. Her tone says she doesn't believe in werewolves. Christ, are there any werewolves in Tucson? Maybe you should buy it. And I'm not selling it anyway, because I think the guy who sold it might actually come back. She says. She unlocks the case and hands you the crooked silver blade. This has to be the one that the Tremere was holding in the video. Elena goes back to messing around on her phone. I'm not paying this much for junk. I'm not scared of Elena's Glock. I lean on her to get the prices down. Maybe there's a cheaper place nearby. Well educated, know around finances. I do have a phone, and I'm good at that. But I need an ally in the city to tell Elena it might be down on my luck now. No, she's not a charmer. No, we're not flirting with her. I could shake her down for clues later. Ooh, dominate. Yes, I'm gonna tell her. Tell me everything you know about this knife, was the dominate request. Elena fights you for a moment. She's strong-willed and formidably clever, but you're Ventru. Finally, she relents. It was that weird old man that came in before. This guy, he looked like... Her expression goes a little vague. You recognize that look. Someone else worked on her mind earlier. Someone made her forget. Tell me, you say, staring into her eyes. She shudders for a second as if she's going to have a stroke. Finally, she overcomes the block and spits it out. Chinese guy, young, like my age. Blazer over a t-shirt like he was going to give a TED talk. He sold it. Shit, I can't remember much. I must have been tired. You release her from your control and she slumps against the counter. There are a lot of aging tech bros in Tucson. But you feel an itch in the back of your mind, a growing confidence. It's Julian Sim. It has to be the Banu Hakim. Damn it, Julian. That's going to be my catchphrase for this. Just damn it, Julian. I do need an ally. I'm not going to flirt with her because I probably can't. Let me see my stats. Charisma. I do have charisma. A great composure. I will look at the finances because I've got a phone. You ask Elena a few careful questions about her financing, just to give you a place to start. She seems more amused than worried by your questions. As soon as you have a few search terms to enter, even shying away from Elena's illegal activities, you see all sorts of inefficiencies in her business model. At least you think you do. You only have access to public information like her lease. But when you ask Elena a few questions about where her money's going, you realize that while she's a capable businesswoman, you're just a little bit better. She chews her lip, then says, "Tell you what, you come back tomorrow and log in a shift fixing my payroll. You promise not to act all weird. I'll give you a discount." After a little more negotiations, it's a deal. She agrees to give you a discount right now, 15%. Ooh. I need to get a gun. I need a weapon. I can't have not a weapon. You don't want to drive around with a rifle or shotgun, so you scan the pistols and revolvers. Most are cheap, badly maintained, or overpriced. A few are all three, but you finally spot a Springfield Armory XDM behind a SGI Sawyer you can't afford. 360, Elena says, handing you the 45 so you can check to see how it feels. It looked bulky in the case, but it settles easily into your hands. Elena watches you as you rack the slide and sight down the barrel. You need something bigger to knock down a vampire, or even an old and powerful ghoul, but this is the perfect anti-human weapon. One round will take a regular mortal out of the fight, and it fits under your silky screen jacket without being too obvious. Unfortunately, you can't afford it right now. But I can. I could get it. I could. I will come back, do my shift, and get more stuff tomorrow. I have a car right now, which is fine. Oh, but I want a suit. How much are the suits? We'll find out. People around here don't seem to pawn clothes as often as they pawn guns, power tools, and Blu-rays of Click 2006, but you discover a small collection of decent clothes. Even a small selection of really good clothes. Nice men and women's clothes you start to mix and match. The Crunisteel blazer in pale gray linen is lightweight and drapes elegantly around your shoulders. You have trouble matching it till you find a pair of slacks without a name. They're men's, like the ones Richard Gere wore in that Gigolo movie, but they look great with that gray linen, and somehow the eclectic pattern and the loose fit works perfectly with the blazer. You're a long way from anywhere nice enough to need that, Elena says. That's why it's all only $4.50, $4.05. And most important of all, you can afford it. The suit's too much money. So I'm gonna get a gun. I need the gun. I need a gun. We'll come back tomorrow. I need the gun, though. Alright. It's 2:16 according to your knockoff Tiscott when you pull out of the convenient pawn shop in your new Honda S2000. The sunrise is 6:29 a.m. It's still early, so you drive around for an hour just to find the cheapest gas station and the fastest ways out of town. Then you accelerate smoothly onto East Broadway Boulevard near a plasma center and head for the garage address you got earlier. When a shadow crosses the hood of your Honda, you look up and catch a glimpse of a wing eclipsing a streetlight. Was that Prince Latau's eagle? You find your spot in the underground parking garage. Right in front of it is a metal door with a keypad. Grab everything from your Honda, lock it, enter the code. Inside is an office with peeling linoleum floors, an ancient metal desk with a rusty mini fridge on it, and a sleeping bag. A short tile corridor ends in a jury-rigged shower and drain. There's a clear plastic bag and some toiletries on the tile, and a bottle of 409 that won't do anything against the smell of mildew. There's no Wi-Fi. Still, it's better than sleeping in a boiling hot clothing drop-off box, and your phone actually still gets good reception. Even better, there are escape routes into the sewers that you can use. You loosen the grates and make sure you still have a clear route into the sewers in case you're exposed. Just getting settled when you hear the door lock beep. The metal door opens and there's Julian Sim. God damn it, Julian. Oh, there he is. Oh, wow. He's got fashion. That's a fit. A new personal low, Julian says. He's wearing a glitch t-shirt and a smile. He starts to enter and then looks down and says, "You have to invite me in." "No, I fucking don't, Julian, because that's not how vampires work." "Come on in, make yourself comfortable. There's no reason to be uncivil." "Give me one reason why I shouldn't rip your head off." "Play it cool, but I smell an opportunity here." Julian was always brilliant. "Fine, enter freely, and of your own free will. Now what do you want?" "I'm actually trying to do legitimate work, so if you could leave, I'd appreciate that. I have a chance with the Camarilla here. And Julian is nothing but trouble. I want to use Julian." "Like always, Spade, I want to help," Julian said, stepping inside, glancing back at your Honda. Then he tosses you a tiny webcam. "This was in your ceiling, by the way. Give me your phone, I'll take care of the tracking here." He looks so young, you think, as he wanders in and out of your shitty crash pad, sweeping for bugs. For some reason, you expected him to age. You look at yourself in your Honda side view mirror. You haven't aged either. "Man, it's been a while," Julian says, leaning against your door frame. "I remember the nights we spent keeping that elder asleep with offerings of blood, and the day curled up together in the desert. Wasn't it romantic?" "That never happened, Julian. You made up our relationship and tried to sell it as a novel until the old Prince of Tucson threatened to execute you." "I'm not saying anything about what happened when we were fledglings. How have you been?" "I was confused, young fledgling. You were older. I thought you were more mature. I won't make that mistake again." "It was until it suddenly wasn't. I'm not willing to tell Julian that I miss him. I don't miss Julian, but I am going to be vague, so I'm going to say, how have you been?" "Good, good," Julian says, catching your hint. "Getting rich, being smart. You know how I am." He glances around your new hovel again. "Anyway, we need to discuss Clan Tremere and the things they get up to in their research. I've been working with Jasper Knowles lately. Terrible what happened to Jasper, of course. It's also terrible what he did to that sewer rat. And that Outlander. And that... Anyway. What's worse is that lately I've been working with Jasper. Not canite to canite, but man to man, as it were." "You're starting to monologue, Julian. That's a dangerous habit. Why don't you just tell me what you want me to know?" "You've been busy. I want to know more. Julian is dangerous, but I love his grand visions of the future." "What do I get the feeling whatever you're doing is even more dangerous than what the Camarilla wants me to do? Maybe I should stick with Prince Latau." "I'm going to tell Julian not to monologue." "Hard living has made you dull, Spade," the Banu Hakim says. "Fine. Since the Convention of Thorns, the Masquerade has protected us from moral scrutiny. We hide what we are, we live in the shadows, but that can't last." He tosses the USB webcam up and down. "The Second Inquisition should have taught us that. One day soon, humans will learn the truth, and this is inevitable. Do you know why Jasper Knowles decided to end his experiments with that Nosferatu? Because someone filmed it when it got out. Then he called me to turn the video from a Masquerade breach into a trailer for a new student horror film. I had to fake some date stamps, but the Tremere paid me well. That's going to happen more and more, Spade. Eventually it's going to be happening every night, all the time, always on, constantly streaming. We must stop offering a hard wall against these inevitabilities and start creating a gilded path for mortals. That's crazy, Julian, but whatever. You're talking about a whole new way humans will be forced to view the world. That's ambitious, Julian, and fascinating. I'm familiar with this kind of speculation. There's another option. A curtailed world of walled gardens and limited information. That's the route I believe kindred must take. Maybe you're right, but that's all years from now. This year, this night, all I want is enough to survive. I'm not turning humans into the pets of kindred so we can eke them out another 100 years of life. Spade is about survival. So we're going to pick, maybe you're right, but that's all years from now. This year, this night, all I want is enough to survive. Then I'll help you survive, Julian says. That's why I'm here. Tomorrow, now that you have this beautiful machine, Julian says, banging the hood of your Honda, Prince Leto will give you one of 3 USBs. Would you like to know what's on them? He doesn't let you answer. One warns the brouhaha Paternoster about renovations to the hospital that will expose his followers. One informs the Tremere Invidia Cowell that her mentor Jasper Knowles is dead and that her funding is cut off because her facility's contacts with mundane biometrical research firms threaten the Masquerade. One tells your sire, Ellen Olive Krona, that the Second Inquisition is coming for her little prison buffet down at the border. Wherever you go, these people will use you or destroy you to escape what's oncoming. And this is all happening because of Jasper's experiments. I already know that. I only know it because you were listening on The Prince. I have to tell Leto and cut the deal with the Camarilla. Why are you telling me this? I absolutely do not trust Julian, but once he starts talking, it's not like there's any way to stop him. So what do you want me to do? I'm willing to hear Julian out at least. I don't give a damn about the usurpers and their sorcery. This is all the fault of the Camarilla letting their favorite clans run wild. Second Inquisition? You're sure they're active again? If they are, I need to watch myself, lest I be destroyed. I want to know what Julian wants. So what do you want me to do? I want you to keep your head up for information about the Second Inquisition that might affect my work. That's all. I won't even ask you to work against Prince Leto or the Camarilla. Just watch for the SI. But first let me demonstrate how disposable you are to the prince. Now think back to what I taught you. Where's the best place to begin, Spade? The walls? Leto's thralls? His pet bird, Riga? Another damn test. Julian loved these. But you thought sometimes you'd appreciate the Camarilla and its traditions. Julian always had a knack for spotting spies. He watches you as you look around your little garage. Let's do some technical analysis on the webcam. I flip my phone open and start scrutinizing the camera. I wonder if Prince Leto's eagle is watching me. I head outside and employ my keen senses and nature lore to look for her. I bet the princess sent mortal spies to watch me. I sneak out and hunt them down through nearby streets, though I doubt it will be easy. I have points in technology, so I'm picking analysis on the webcam. Instead of waiting inside, Julian sweeps your Honda for bugs. Once he's done, he doesn't say anything, even as sunrise approaches, and you continue your work. You unscrew the webcam and check the serial number of its individual parts. Using your phone, you trace some of the serial numbers to domestic suppliers, then to defense contractors. You recognize some of the names. These names from your time with Julian. These are SI suppliers, you whisper. Exactly, Julian says. So either the SI installed that webcam, or Prince Leto's people installed it unaware of its provenance. Which is worse? Or Julian's lying from top to bottom in order to manipulate you. I think he's lying. I don't trust that little bastard. He takes out his phone and checks the time and frowns a little. You're going to need better security than this if you stay here. What are you going to rig up? Cameras, poison gas like we used in Fort Worth? Maybe laser tripwires. Despite the late hour, it takes a while to get Julian off the subject of security. Finally, he drops his voice and says, "You need to be ready for the SI, Spade." He glances up at you, his pale face illuminated by his phone, and says, "They're not as smart as they think they are. but they're still pretty smart. They're piecing things together. Anyway, I've been thinking about Isla. Shut the fuck up. What if someone is listening? We'd both be killed for what happened. I'll seriously beat the shit out of Julian if he keeps talking. I regret what I did to that elder every night, and I will never forgive Julian for leading me down that twisted path away from the traditions of the kindred. Oh, did I eat someone? Why bring up our crimes now? It's Diablerie, oh my gosh. The black stains on my soul are what kept me from real power in the Camarilla. I don't regret destroying Isla and taking her power, only how useless it turned out to be. Let's not speak of those we've lost. I still remember the incredible perverse sense of power when I drank Isla's ancient blood, though I won't give Julian the pleasure of admitting it. Oh, it is Diablerie. There is true power in Diablerie, though it's heresy to say so. Are you planning more of that sort of thing, Julian? We ate someone. I don't regret it, obviously, because power's great. I do want to, kick the shit out of him, but I think I'm gonna go for let's not speak of those we lost, in case someone's already listening. I'm glad you understand what power looks like, Spade, Julian says. When I was young, I thought knowledge was power. My embrace taught me that power is power. I think the Diablerie of Isla taught you the same thing. It's true. You could still feel Isla's stolen strength. And sometimes, especially when the hunger is upon you, you could still hear her thoughts, screaming through your withered veins. It's almost sunrise, Julian says, checking his phone again. I'm late for prayer. He slips a business card out of his glitch hoodie and says, with my usurper contact dead, my old Denver company, 21,000X, is on hiatus. But I'm still thinking about the future. The 22nd century. Think about that, Spade. It's the sort of blank spot in our imagination. I mean, human imagination, too. We talked about the 21st century as kids. We can still, in a way, imagine the far future. But what's coming? What's it going to be like 80 or 100 years from now? Because I plan to be there, and I want your help. You're getting the impression that the Camarilla wants you. Maybe Prince the Toad just wants you as a pansy in case the Second Inquisition hits him like the fist of God. But he hasn't mistreated you yet, and you know that the kindred of the Camarilla do not serve two masters. You could tell me details tomorrow. Now you should go before you burn. I'm not 100% in, but I'm interested and I want to hear more. I lie, pretending to be interested, while making it clear to anyone still listening, like Leto, that I'm not. I'll call you. I commit the card to memory, but I'm hedging, not committing one way or another. What scheme of yours has turned out well, Julian? Please, just go. Fuck your hard sell, Julian. I'm not saying no, but I get right up in his face and make it clear I won't be yanked around. Not again. Never again. Maybe we'd better discuss plans in my haven. Can't believe I'm inviting Julian to spend the day. But he's charming. No, we do not trust Julian. No, goddamn it, Julian, is the catchphrase. We're gonna lie in case someone's listening, because we're paranoid and someone is definitely listening. If Prince Leto is actually hearing this conversation, you're probably already dead. But there are other stranger ways of knowing possessed by the kindred, and some of them allow for ambiguity. You hint to Julian that you're interested, and he jumps on your hesitant enthusiasm. With your help, he quickly grows convinced you'd be thrilled to help him in whatever scheme he's concocted this time. Maybe you are willing to help him. You haven't decided yet. What makes matters is that you don't actually have any kind of formal commitment. You just let Julian believe you have. I haven't decided on the details, Julian says, but I'll be in touch. Figure out where you're going first, and I'll try to help. He hands you a card with information about how to reach him, the motel where he's staying, and the location of a drop box. There's a little glyph like a knife doodled on the card. Akara Minbit, he says. I'm not exactly a regular member of Clan Banu Hakim, so that's what I'm using instead of the old 21,000 logo to mark my holdings. No name yet, just the mark. Look for it, Spade. Then he opens the door to your little office room, scans the shadows, and disappears down the garage, in no evident hurry despite the proximity of sunrise. The metal door swings shut. You let the shock of Julian Sims' return fade, then check your knockoff Tissot as you take it off. It's 6:20 a.m. You secure the door, drop the deadbolt, and strip out of your courier's outfit. You don't even have time for a shower, so you just unroll the sleeping bag and make sure your phone is charging. You dream of flying high over the Alps at night, the roar of a single-seater engine in your ears, a silk scarf wrapped around your throat to keep off the cold, though you're already colder than anything else in these skies. Your dream shifts to a huge moon over a city you know so well that no name comes to mind. All the turquoise domes and tall towers black against the midnight sky. Then the same city, except it's only a village. Low mud huts, donkeys, children laughing. It's morning. Feel the hot sun against your back and bare limbs. No dreams. Memories. And one last memory. One that you know isn't yours. You remember forcing your eyes open after years of darkness and looking up at the two eager fledglings. One from your own clan, one from Clan Ventrue. You remember watching frozen as the Ventrue's fangs slide out. You open your eyes for real and check your phone. It's 5:49 p.m. Sunset. Isla's sleeping again. Your fangs are protruding. You shake your head until they go away, though you keep remembering the coating of dust on the elder's throat as you sank your teeth into her. You shower, scraping the last of the filth out from under your fingernails. Then you decide where you're going. You don't want to keep Prince Leto waiting as you make a decision. Your first stop will be... I believe I'm going to leave Ellen Olive Krona till the last. So, we can go to the Mad Doctor or the Bruja. I believe I will go with Paternoster at St. Basil's Hospital in Phoenix. Kick the bottom feeder vamps around and make the place my own. Paternoster. They've been lax and the Camarilla needs them better behaved before the SI notices something. I could shake off my lethargy, see what's going on, or even make some new contacts. We'll go with that one. Alright. That is the end of Chapter 3, Vampire the Masquerade Night Road. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. If anyone has anything else they'd like to add down in the comments section below, please do so. If you'd like to check us out on all our social medias, those will be in the description below. And thank you again to Choice of Games for making the Vampire the Masquerade Night Road game, which you can find on the Steam store. The link to that will be in the description below. And thank you so much for joining me. I was your host, Elise Hawes, and I will see you all next week for Chapter 4 as we head to the hospital, St. Basil's.